3 questions. Do you care for me? Can you help me? Can I trust you? John Maxwell talks about this in his newest book. I haven't read it yet, but I'm obviously, going to at some point. And I'm listening to a podcast between him and Ed Milet because he's promoting his book. And my first thought is that's what you ask leaders. But why don't you ask yourself? So, when I say that, I mean, okay, so, see if my mind can actually wrap around remembering these 3 questions, but, okay, can I trust you? Too often, we'll trust another person before we trust ourselves. We don't trust our decisions. That's why when we make one, we back out of it 2 or 3 times, or we write pros and cons, or we do something. We don't trust ourselves. I think that before you trust anyone, you should be able to trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, well, actually, go back to that. So if we don't trust ourselves, then we need accountability partners. Well, accountability partners keeps you honest, but if you're not honest with yourself and you lie to yourself all the time, kind of like your mind lies to you most of the time, then... But seriously, if you can't trust yourself, and a lot of people can't because, hell, you have every part of your body lying to you, right? So you need accountability partners. But I think that should be like step 1. You should learn to start trusting yourself and trusting that you know. Do you care about me? That's a huge one. So you care about a lot of people and they care about you, but you keep asking other people, do you care about me? But you don't ask yourself, hey, do you care about me? Do you love me? Do you love yourself? Now, see, this connotation can be taken a lot of ways. This phrase can be taken so many different ways. I'm not talking about prideful. I'm not talking about, self-confidence. I'm asking, do you actually love yourself? Meaning, do you consider yourself valuable? I mean, yeah, you can pretty much put that with confidence, I guess, but it's different. And why I say that is if you ever lost yourself, if you've ever became someone completely different internally that you didn't recognize you, when I say, do you love yourself, did you miss you? Do you miss you? Do you miss the way you used to be? And I'm not talking about how you used to be fun-loving and now you're stressed out. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there's a deep down person in you that used to love to learn, that used to love to read, that used to love to do things, that used to talk to people. If you look at that person and you long for that person, then you need to work on getting that person back. I mean, you can't be young again, but you can learn to be that type of person. If you used to love and trust people, you need to work on getting that back. If you've been hurt so many times you don't trust, you need to work on getting that where you actually love and trust people back. That's how you love yourself. Can you help me? This one's tough. And what I mean by can you help yourself is going to be pretty much the incorporation of all 3. What do I mean by that? We are so readily available to give our heart away to someone else. We keep looking for people to take our hearts, to make us whole. That we don't understand we're already whole. We're just looking for someone to share our time with. When Tom Cruise said, "You complete me," then he was missing something, and that relationship will never last. Because and I believe, and I know I sound like I almost contradict myself, because I understand that you're finding your person, you're finding your other rib. I get that. I do, because I found mine, but he didn't make me whole. I spent half my life looking for some other half to make me whole. The person is supposed to love you and hold your hand while you find the other part of you. If you don't have it, you are the other part of you. You're the missing link. There's a piece of you that's missing, whether you've given it up in childhood or you dropped it off somewhere and you never went back for it. But you are the whole. You are the half that makes whole. You are the yin, you are the yang. You are the good, you are the bad. You can't have one without the other, because then you wouldn't be whole. Now, people say that mental illness takes a lot from you. You're still whole. You're still there. You didn't lose it. You never understood it. It's a little crossed, but you're still there. You're not searching for a piece that makes you normal. You're looking, you want to discover more about yourself. That takes introspection and introspection, and it takes really digging deep into everything about you. Now, are you going to heal stuff that might be like a chemical imbalance or neurons aren't firing in certain areas? No, I'm not saying you can heal it, but I think if you understand it better, if you could get whatever's your issue is explained to you in your language, then it would help you understand why your brain does what it does. Because I don't think people with severe mental illness likes dealing with what they have to deal with, but if they kind of can understand it, and even if you have to simplify it to where a baby would understand it, then that's what you have to do. You have to basically put on kid gloves and have a talk with yourself. But you're never going to find who you are, the full you, in someone else's body. And that's why I say, can you help you? I think for most illnesses, minus, like major ones or stuff like that you don't understand, you might need help to kind of research and understand it. But for the most part, you can heal you in most every situation. If your body can repair itself, and mostly that most doctors don't give you anything other than like skin grafts, but all the skin graft is a piece of skin on something, and they wait till your body to actually mold to it. An organ fails, your body can't repair that. An organ's put in you, but your body's got to reject it. So your body's what heals you. You heal you. You tell a foreign object in your life whether to stay or whether to go. And if everything about you says that needs to go, and one thing saying, no, we need to keep this, then it needs to go. You're not in homeostasis. You're not whole. You're not 100%. Trust is a lack of homeostasis. It's one part. It is at least one part of you that says you got to go. This isn't right. And you can lie and say it is, but eventually the other parts, that one part will kick it out. Introspection, I guess. It's just, like I said, if leadership starts with you, if everything starts with you, because it's your life, then you got to look at it in the same light as everything starts with you. That the relationships in your life is you. I think that's why I never really understood why people play the blame game. I mean, I've done it too, but not so much. I mean, I mean, I've always said, well, when I start looking at someone else, my mind automatically turns it around and says, well, what have you done or not done that you needed to do? And when I talk to people, inevitably, they said, well, you didn't do anything. No, I did. I either accepted what was going on, I allowed what was going on, or I ignored what was going on. See, I think not knowing is an excuse, because there's always clues. And you either accept them is not there, ignore them, but there's always something. Now they say, because if that was the case, hindsight wouldn't be 20/20. Things would not be crystal clear, because I have been in circumstances where there is a moment, and I talked about this years ago. There is a moment in almost anything serious that happens in your life where you have it might be a split second of anything, but there is a moment in time when you're in a situation where you are almost pulled out of your body watching this unfold, and there's a voice. It might be small, it might be tiny, it might be just almost I want to say inconceivable, but that's not the word. Incoherent. That says, run, don't, stop, yes, no. It says something. It might be your own little conscious, it might be your own Jiminy Cricket. If you don't know who that is, watch Pinocchio. For some, it's louder than others, but at one time there is a moment where you see it. And if you say, no, that's never happened, then you ignore it. You've pretty much spent your life beating that little cricket to death. But there is that moment. And if you beat that little cricket into submission, then eventually, yes, the moments do go away until you don't know right from wrong. But it takes a long time to know that. So before you start looking outwardly, ask yourself 3 questions. Before you ask what you can do for something, before you ask what something can do for you, y'all, I don't mean to quote John F. Kennedy at all, but basically, ask not what others can do for you, ask what you can do for others. But always start with you. When you start to say, he did, she did, well, my boss did, fill in the blank did, take 5 deep breaths in your nose, out your mouth, and ask yourself, what could I have done different? What am I doing? How could have I reacted? And if you're looking for love outwardly, ask yourself. If you're looking for someone to complete you, ask, can you help you? Do you love you? And can you trust you? Love y'all.